Okay, we're live. Let's go to the main display. Okay, here we go. So welcome back to my stream. This is a stream of Rust. I'm going through the Roguelike tutorial in Rust, and I'm learning how entity component systems work to build games. So I'm learning a bunch of different things. We've gone through the tutorial all the way up to difficulty. Difficulty was a pretty interesting chapter because we learned about making depth for the player, learned how to increase spawn rates, how to create spawn tables, and how to increase spawn rates based on the depth that the player is. That's down here. We're going to go to the final chapter of the tutorial now called Equipment. And I'm going to keep going after that, not today, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go through the entire thing of stretch goals, generating maps. How far does that go? There's a bunch of different maps stuff here. The thing I'm looking forward to learning about is this wave function collapse. I haven't looked at any of this yet in advance. And then making a game. So there's this whole game in here that we get to make. And I'm going to see what that's like. Hopefully that'll be a lot of fun. Meanwhile, let's get to the final chapter. As I said, we're going to do equipment. All right. So we should be all clean. And all of our commits should be pushed. Yep. So I don't need this, right? This was when we were trying to figure out how to save games. I don't know why I needed this one. Okay. And then this one's the specs book, which I'll keep meaning to look at and then I never do. And we're going to continue that trend today, looking at equipping the player. So now that we have a dungeon with increasing difficulty, it's time to start giving the player some ways to improve their performance. In this chapter, we'll start with the most basic of human tasks, equipping a weapon and a shield. That's a little tongue-in-cheek, I think. So adding some items you can wear or wield. We already have a lot of the item system in place, so we'll build upon the foundation from previous chapters, just using components we already have. We can start with the following in spawners, making a dagger and a shield. Okay, let's do that. So we already create something similar, right? You know, all of our potions have similar kind of a thing. The only difference is that it's not going to have consumable or provides healing or anything like that. So let's just copy one of these guys. We'll call it Dagger. It's still going to create an entity with a position and a renderable. The renderable for Dagger is going to be a slash. It'll be cyan and black. Okay, render order will still be 2. Name will be Dagger. It'll be an item. It's not consumable. It does not provide healing, and it does get the simple marker for the save load system. And then shield is going to be essentially the same thing as a dagger, except all the way down here, we're going to make it an open paren. And still going to be cyan and black, and it's going to be called a shield. Like that. Okay. Oh, and then we want to change the name of the function to shield. So imagine now we have to change our room table so that we create daggers and shields. So that's down here. So we'll just say add dagger with a probability of 3, or a weight of 3, and a shield with a weight of 3. And just to make sure I didn't typo anything, I'll just double check that. Okay. We can also include them in the system that actually spawns them quite readily. Oh yeah, we have to add it up there. Okay, so throw up here, dagger. It'd be nice if it didn't have to go through this string matching thing. XY or shield, and create a shield. ECSXY. Yep, and dagger. Yep, okay, good. If you cargo run the project, no, you can run around and eventually find a dagger or shield. You might consider raising the spawn frequency from 3 to a really big number while you test. Since we added the item tag, you can pick up and drop these items when you find them. You can't equip them, but you can pick them up and drop them. So let me actually also change spawn goodies. Spawn goodies calls random item. That way at least they'll spawn in the opening room. This is something I added. 6. So this will be a dagger. And 5. And a shield. And that this is something I added. It's not part of the tutorial, but something that in the first room of the game will spawn a bunch of random items in it so that we can do testing more easily. All right, so I should be able to find daggers and shields now. Oh. Yep, I keep typoing that, don't I? There we go. That's easy to typo. For me, anyway. All right, so that built, or it's building. It'll be built any second now. Pop over to the browser and refresh. So now, this is the wrong direction, right? That's a magic missile scroll. There. So this, actually we can mouse over it, right? It should mouse over fine. Yep, it says shield. That's really hard to read though. And dagger. So we can pick up a shield and pick up a dagger. And they're in our inventory. We can't use them. I'm hitting A and B, but it doesn't do anything yet, unsurprisingly. All right, so daggers and shields aren't too useful if you can't use them. So let's make them equipable. So now we're going to add an equipable component. Okay. So in our components, so the components that have convert save load are components that have items inside them, because apparently the macro only works with items inside them. If a component does not have things inside, like this consumable, then we have to separate them out and say serialize and deserialize. So this one, I guess the enum counts as a, there's no pub enum, so this will be the first enum. And this one should be able to get a convert save load. So we're going to try that and see what happens. So we're going to say, do we have another one with partial? No, okay. I'll just type it all in. Derive. I was looking for one to copy paste. Q, copy, clone, serialize, deserialize, pub enum, equipment slot, melee, and shield. And then we're going to do this one, oops, like that. Pub struct equipable, pub slot, equipment slot. And we'll have to remember to register it in a few places, right? So we need to add it to the registry. So equipment slot is a component, right? Yeah. Equipable. Oh no, equipable is a component, not equipment slot. Okay. And then in our save load system, we'll have to add it. Okay. To both the, yep, here. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, I'm going to put them before equipable, because you can't put a comma at the end of a macro. So it's just easier to insert it just before the serialization helper. Okay. In main RS, yep, we did that. In the save load system, we did that. And finally, we should add the equipable component to our dagger and shield functions in Spawner RS. which is right here. Dagger. And we'll say with equipable. And this goes in the slot of equipment slot melee. And then we do the same thing for shield, except we're going to change it to the shield slot. Like that. And we're going to have to add equipable and equipment slot. Like that. Okay. So this should build also, right? Just making sure. And then we're going to say making items equipable. Generally, having a shield in your backpack doesn't help much. Obvious, how do you fit it in there, questions aside. So you have to be able to pick one to equip. We'll start by making another component, equipped. This works in a similar fashion to in backpack. It indicates that an entity is holding it. Unlike in backpack, it will indicate what slot is in use. Here's the basic equipped component in components.rs. Okay. So equipable and equipped. Pub struct equipped pub owner entity pub slot equipment slot EQU IP. There we go. Like that. Just like before, we need to register it in main and put it in our serialization code. Okay, main source lib save load system. So equipable and equipped. And we'll change this to equipped. And I guess I could have just copied the line. Equipped. Okay. Actually equipping the item. So let's just make sure this builds. Now we want to make it possible to actually equip the item. Doing so will automatically unequip any item in the same slot. We'll do this through the same interface we already have for using items, so we don't have disparate menus everywhere. Okay. Open inventory system RS and we'll edit item use system. We'll start by expanding the list of systems we are referencing. Whoa. Okay, it's getting big. So here's our inventory system item use. I broke this out into item use data. So Clippy didn't complain. What they did to fix the Clippy complaint was to add this. And what I did to fix the Clippy complaint was to just create a new type. And then Clippy doesn't mind a separate type. It just doesn't like this anonymous type being so large. But it doesn't mind the fact that I'm creating a brand new type that's large. So, okay, so we have entity, game log. There's the map. Entities, right? Wants to use item, name, consumable. It's not all in the same order. And if I fix this order and match this order, I have to fix all this. And so we have consumable, right? Provides healing, inflicts damage. I don't know how I didn't get it in the same order, but that's the way it is. Combat stats, suffer damage, area of effect, and then equipable and equipped, and then finally in backpack. So I have to add those three. Okay, I'll put them down here. Read storage, decay, equipable, write storage, decay, equipped, and then another write storage of in backpack. Okay, and then we have to add those down here. Okay. Equipable, mute. I'm looking here, right? Equipped and backpack. Okay. And now, after target acquisition, add the following block. If it is equipable, then we want to equip it and unequip whatever else is in that slot. So target acquisition is this code here, where we loop over all possible targets, right? If the item is targetable, which daggers and shields are not, then we're going to go through this list and choose all of the tiles that are necessary. It could either be this is something we did a few days ago. We either have a blast radius if it has an area effect, or it's a single tile that's not the player if it's targetable and doesn't have an area effect. Or if it's not targetable at all, then the target must be the player entity. And that's what's going to happen with our thing. So now we're going to do this. So this is checking if it's a healer, if it does damage, if we had confusion, and so on and so on. So what we're going to do here is if let, right, some can equip. I'm short-circuiting their code here to write down here to eliminate these 4 lines. Equipable get use item, right? So I'm using the same pattern as I'm using here. This is something we did before. Let target slot can equip slot, and let the target be targets of 0. I assume that ends up being this guy here, right? Remove any items the target has in the items slot. To unequip back entity back new. So we're going to get a list of items to unequip. All right, so we're going to loop over all entities that have an equipped component and a name. I'm going to join over all those guys. Yep. That just barely makes it to 100 characters. So if the owner is equal to the target, which is going to be this, which is going to be this, right? And we're aiming for a target slot, so the shield or melee slot. Then we're going to unequip it. To unequip, push item entity. If target is the player entity, which it should be, but I guess we're making it as generic as possible. Push format, you unequip something. I guess there's a period there. Name. Maybe nice to make that part of the game log. Just say game log entries or new entry, and then pass in the entity and the string you want to do, and it can check if it's a player entity. But because this pattern is everywhere. You see this: if entity is player entity, player's entity, if entity is player entity, and so on. Okay, so now that we've got a list of all of the entities we want to unequip, we're going to unequip them. Equip iter, equipped remove item. So we remove the equipped component from the item, and we're going to put it in the backpack. That makes sense. Item in backpack, owner target, expect unable to insert what? Backpack entry. Yeah, it's just that one. Okay. And that's the end of that loop. Okay. Wow. Yeah, Gargo format's going to reformat that on me anyway, right? Okay, and then we're going to wield it. So we're going to insert, use item, a new equipped, the owner being the target, and a slot being the target slot. And we're going to say .expect, unable to insert equipped component. Now this doesn't check, this doesn't do any checking to make sure there isn't another one there. We're relying on all this code to be working. So there's no like asserts or anything that say, you've already got a melee weapon equipped. Backpack, remove, use item, if target, here we go again. Player, entity, game log, entries, push, format, you equip something. Names get, use item, unwrap. Like that. Close that, close that. So, okay, this starts by matching to see if we can equip the item. If we can, it looks up the target slot for the item and looks to see if there already is an item in that slot. If it's there, it moves it to the backpack. And lastly, it adds an equipped component to the item entity with the owner and the appropriate slot. Right. Lastly, you may remember that when a player moves to the next level, we delete a lot of entities. We want to include equipped by the player as a reason to keep an item in the ECS. Okay. And that is not in main.rs. I think that is in game state, right? I don't remember now. Entities to remove. Yeah. And I simplified the code a lot by just checking is_sum. This is saying if let, so this is checking the backpack. So we're also going to now check the equipments, right? So if we look up here, we see entities, we see player entity, we see player, right? Those are separate. So this is coming out of, this is a resource that we're retrieving. And then this is just giving us a list of all entities that have the player tag on them. So it's a little more complicated, but we need both. Because the player entities is the thing that owns the thing in the backpack, but the player is an entity that we don't want to remove from the game when we go down a level. Because that would be weird if the player disappeared, right? So then we're going to just add let equipped. Oh, that's hard to read, isn't it? There. Equipped equals self. ECS read storage. Equipped. Like that. So this stays the same. This stays the same. And then we're going to add this, it looks like. So we have player get, we have backpack get, and we have equipped get. So let's do that. And we're going to use the same pattern I have here. If let some EQ equipped get entity, and then if EQ owner is the player entity, we're going to continue. Right? I got rid of this should delete thing because there's no reason to keep, if we're going to, right, if we found the player, we don't need to check to see if it's in the backpack or if it's equipped. And if we found an item in a backpack, we don't need to check to see if it's also equipped, because all we're doing is setting should delete to false. So I'm just doing a continue. So we just go to the next entity and ignore it. And then if everything works, then we just, or everything passes down here, then we just push it on the delete list. And this removes all the entities, or it comes up with a list of all the entities to remove on level change. And that's down here. It's called here. When we go to the next level, we just get a list and then we loop over all of the entries in that list and delete them. So it's complicated code, but it's simple to understand what it's trying to do. Oh, and then we have to add, yeah. So what did I need to add a bunch of things. Ooh, unclosed delimiter. I messed up something. What was line 70? So I must have missed a, yeah, in my new code here. Yep. That's something in IDE would help me find. Okay, and then we also have to add equipped and equipable, right? And in backpack. Oh, we already have in backpack. Okay. Equipable and equipped. Right? Is that the only thing I needed to do? Nope. Oh, to unquip. That's pretty funny. And what's wrong with this? Oh, I probably left out a toString or something. Yeah, a dot name. Okay. So inventory system and 125 and 143 to unequip, right? Yep. Okay, good. And then 143 was the other one. We go unwrap.name. Okay. How's that? All right, so if you cargo run the project now, you can run around picking up the new items and you can equip them. They don't do anything yet, but at least you can swap them in and out, and the game log will show equipping and unequipping. All right, let's try that. I forget if it was left or right, but it's probably this one, right? You pick up the shield, you equip the shield. Okay. And it's gone from my inventory, so I don't know how I can unequip. Oh, I can unequip it by picking up another shield, right? Which is not there. Let's see if we can quickly find another shield, otherwise I'll do a refresh. Oh, I can grab this and pick up the dagger and equip the dagger. Yep, you equip the dagger. Okay, so that's working. And then no more daggers there. Nothing there. Couple of rooms with nothing. I just want to find another shield or a dagger. That's a scroll, right? Yeah. Up here, nothing. Over here, that's the downstairs. Nothing, nothing. All right, let's go downstairs and see if there's anything good to find down here. Oh, another downstairs. All right, I just want to find one more shield. Nope. Or one more dagger. And that's another shield. Okay, so we'll pick that up. It's in our inventory. If I hit A, it says you unequip the shield, you equip the shield. Now this is a different shield. You can't tell, but there it is. Okay. So that didn't, the important thing is it didn't crash. We didn't get any console barf or anything like that. So I think this is good. So let's see if Clippy's happy. I'm up at my stream limit, stream time limit, so I'm going to have to sign off. So we're just cleaning everything up. Get diff. So we added an equipment slot, enum, and an equipped and equipable components. In our game state, we check, make sure when we change levels that we don't lose. And that's another thing. I did change levels, didn't I? And I was and remember that I needed to unequip the shield here, so that other shield wasn't lost. Down here in our inventory system, our item use system, when we use the item, oh wow, it stretched it out a lot. We first check to see if an item needs to be unequipped before we can equip it. Down here, I hit space, so it went faster. And then down here is our item spawn system, which we changed a couple of things on. We added code to be able to spawn them. I updated my cheat for the first room, so it could also spawn daggers and shields. Here's our dagger and shield thing, and then in our room table function, we can now spawn them randomly. And then, of course, we have to register the two new component types. We also added it to the save load system. Yeah, here. So we can save it and we can load it. Okay, which I haven't tested because, let's see if we can save a shield. We got a couple of minutes to save a shield. That's equipped. And the save load system, if you haven't seen it before, this just uses a JSON serialization thing. Oh, that's tiny. Okay, I can grab a dagger and then hit escape and then hit quit. And then we should have our save game JSON file. Take a look at it real quick. And there should be a dagger. Okay. Dagger. Oh, this is just, yeah. So there must be a few daggers on the level. But one of them needs to be equipped, right? I guess there's no way to see. I guess what's part of the player is not obvious. I should get some JSON format. JSON PP, there we go. No, that's slower than I thought it would be, but it is a big file, so. I just want to see the dagger component being part of the dagger entity referred to by the player. Wow, okay, this is really slow. All right, while that's doing that, let's push this up. Git commit. Player can now equip items and swap them out. Can't really unequip them directly, but you can swap them out for others. And let's push that up. So it should show up over here. There it is. And that's still running. Okay, well, we'll take a look at that next time, maybe. I'll leave it here so I remember. But before I do, let's see what we're going to do next time. So granting combat bonuses, right? So now that we have a dagger and a shield and whatnot, we're going to add melee power bonus and defense bonus, and we'll take care of that in the next stream, which is probably not going to be until Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, unfortunately. But that's it for now. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you have a great day, and hope to see you soon. Take care.